One of the things clients often ask is, what are the different factors that determine how much my case will be worth? And, there are a number of things that we have to look at to decide why is one case or one lawsuit worth more compared to another one. So some of these factors include, well, one of the first factors and the most important factors are the injury, right? Because the more injury you can show through medical records, through diagnosis, through doctors that'll come into court and testify, then the more value the jury will allow and the more money the insurance company will pay. So one of the major factors is the injury that's sustained in the accident. The second factor that's important to look at is the client and the person. And really it's who is the client? If the client is somebody who's likable, who's a nice person, who answers questions directly, they may be getting more compensation than somebody who tries to, hide things, who maybe lies, and the insurance company can prove that this particular client has lied under oath. So really, the second factor would be the client. And the third factor would be the treatment. What kind of treatment has this particular individual obtained? The medical care. Has it been consistent? Has the client gone 3 times a week for therapy for 6 months and not missed a visit? Are the medical records consistent? Or did the client start therapy but then take a month-long vacation to Indonesia? Well, now maybe they're going to be like a little bit worried about it, thinking it could be a faker. Why is he taking such a big break from treatment? So things like that. The medical treatment is important. The other thing that's very important is the venue. The venue really answers the question, where can the lawsuit be brought? In New York, it's based on where one of the parties resides or the place where the accident happens. If the lawsuit can be brought in a good venue, or what's known as a good venue because jury verdicts in that venue have been high, such as the Bronx or Brooklyn, insurance companies might look to settle those cases for more money compared to a poor venue that's considered conservative, maybe somewhere out in Long Island or Westchester or upstate New York is considered more conservative. And so insurance companies look at that because their entire job model is to evaluate risk, right? And the more risk that they fear, then the more money they'll put on the case. And if they think it's kind of a safe bet that they're not going to get hit with the large verdict, then they'll obviously offer less compensation. And in the same way, one of the other factors is the insurance company itself, because some insurance companies are very good and very fair and reasonable, and they'll offer a reasonable amount pretty quickly, whereas others might say, you know what, I don't care what the injury is, we just don't settle. I want to have them take it to court, I want them to do depositions, I want exchange discovery, make them go through the entire lawsuit process, and at the end, when we're forced to go pick a jury, maybe then we'll offer something, and even then we won't offer what's fair, but we'll make them take a verdict. And it just depends on which insurance company you get, which is just the luck of the draw. And the other factor that really comes into play is the law firm that's representing you, the law firm that's representing the injured plaintiff, because some law firms have a reputation for settling cases, kind of a cookie cutter mentality where they just settle a volume of cases and they make their money that way. Whereas other firms have a track record of going to trial and taking large verdicts. And the insurance companies keep tabs on who's who, and then they'll value cases accordingly. So these are some of the factors. The other very important factor in determining how much a case is worth is the issue of liability. Liability answers the question, who was at fault? So of course, one of the first things we have to look at in evaluating what a case is worth will be the damages or the injury itself. But at the same time, even if you have a very serious injury, if you have no liability, maybe, someone just tripped over their own shoelace and fell, and now there's not really anybody to sue, it would be worth 0, even if that person had a serious brain injury, right? In the same way, sometimes what happens is a case could be worth a certain amount. So if someone is stopped at a red light and gets hit in the rear by a truck, and that truck has $10 million in insurance coverage, because of the severity of the injuries, that case is worth $10 million. But the same case, now if somebody is walking on a staircase and there's a puddle and they slip, well, the jury could say, you know what, that client is 50% at fault for not watching where they were going or not holding on to the handrail. And so now that same $10 million, if the liability is 50-50, the client would only get half, or $5 million, right? So it just depends. So liability works to discount the ultimate result in a case. So I hope this has been helpful. This is just some of the things that we as lawyers have to look at in evaluating our cases and trying to put a number on what an injury is worth. And it's something that we do when we talk to our clients and answer their frequently asked questions.